All right, let's dive into healthcare costs today.
Yeah,
Something I think we all probably agree we want less of.
absolutely.
And there's this company, MultiPlan Corporation,
Okay.
that promises to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
They work with insurance companies and try to push back on those ridiculous medical bills.
Right, right.
MultiPlana actually claims that they save their clients something like 20 cents on every dollar.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
pretty impressive, right?
Yeah. So how do they actually do that?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the secret sauce?
What's the magic?
Yeah.
So what exactly does MultiPlan do?
So picture this, right? You have like this giant pipeline.
Okay.
Okay, so on one end, you have these healthcare providers sending in bills,
Mm-hmm.
and on the other end, you have insurance companies waiting to pay them.
Right.
Multiplana. They sit right in the middle of that pipeline,
Okay.
analyzing every single claim.
So they're like the quality control
Yeah.
for medical bills.
I'll do right. That's a great way to put it. They're searching for errors, overbilling anything that might inflate the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it, like 135 million claims
Wow.
worth over $100 billion
That's a lot.
flowing through their system every year. They
Mhm.
have this enormous database and algorithms that help them compare each claim to what's considered normal for
Right.
that specific procedure or treatment.
So what happens if a doctor charges way more than usual for a procedure?
That's when MultiPlan steps in and starts negotiating.
Okay.
They use their data to push back and try to get that cost down.
Okay.
They claim they've saved customers nearly $19 billion this way.
$19 billion.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's a lot of money.
But, I mean, if they're saving insurance companies so much money, is that actually trickling down to us, the consumers?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one that we should definitely dig into later in the deep dive.
Okay.
But first, let's rewind a bit and look at MultiPlan's history.
Okay.
They've had a pretty interesting journey through the world of private equity.
Yeah, I was reading about that.
Yeah,
They've been owned by a bunch of different private equity firms, right?
that's right. Carlyle Silver Lake, the Partners Group, Hellman and Friedman.
It's a lot.
They've all had a piece of MultiPlan at some point,
Mhm.
and now they're with Churchill Capital.
All right.
This constant shuffling between owners can sometimes be a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah. Why is that?
It makes you wonder if the focus is really on healthcare or if it's on just financial engineering and profits.
Right. Like they're just dressing up the company.
Exactly.
To seal it off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this actually leads us to one of the more interesting parts of MultiPlan's story,
Okay.
their SPAC merger.
Okay. I've heard about SPACs,
Yeah.
but I don't really understand them.
Okay, so think of a SPAC like a blank check company
Okay.
that goes public with the sole purpose of finding a private company to merge with.
Okay.
It's like a shortcut to going public,
Mm-hmm.
bypasses the traditional IPO process.
So it's just a company waiting to merge?
Yeah, basically a pre-made public company just waiting for a partner.
Mm-hmm.
So in MultiPlan's case, they merged with Churchill Capital III back in 2020.
Okay.
And this merger brought in $3.7 billion.
Wow. That's a lot of cash.
It is a lot of cash.
Sounds good for MultiPlan.
Yeah. Well, here's where the story takes a bit of a turn.
Uh-oh.
A big chunk of that money, about $1.2 billion, was used to pay off existing debt.
Oh.
And then a good portion of it also went towards fees and expenses for the merger itself.
Right.
What was left over was given to the existing shareholders.
So not all that money went towards MultiPlan and their technology and stuff?
No, not all of it. And then to add another layer,
Oh.
they also issued a $1.3 billion convertible bond as part of the deal.
Hold on. I don't know what a convertible bond is.
Okay, so think of it like a loan that can change into company shares down the road.
Oh.
And this specific bond could potentially turn into 100 million new shares,
Wow.
diluting the value of the existing shares.
So this SPAC merger brought in all this money, but a lot of it went to paying off debt and to shareholders.
Right.
And then we have this convertible bond
Yeah.
that could further dilute the value.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to sound like a bit of a shell game,
Yeah, it does raise some questions about their financial stability for sure.
especially since they want to grow so much, right?
Yeah,
I read that they're planning on expanding a lot.
exactly. They are projecting a 7% growth in EBITDA for their base case.
EBITDA. I don't know what that means.
Oh yeah, EBITDA stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Okay.
You can think of it as a way to measure a company's operating profitability.
Okay.
So like checking their financial pulse.
Gotcha. So they're projecting they're going to be a lot more profitable.
Yeah, and even more than that, like 10 to 13% growth if these expansion plans work out.
Okay, but is that realistic?
Well, that's the big question.
Yeah.
And to answer that, we have to look at their debt situation.
Because they have a lot of it.
Yeah, they do. Their debt load is currently 6 times their EBITDA.
6 times.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot.
It's a lot. It's a level that's usually compared to like a cable company.
Hey, yikes.
Not exactly known for being financially responsible.
Right.
And Warren Buffett once said that using a lot of debt is like driving with a dagger stuck on the steering wheel.
Okay.
Like any little bump, any unexpected change could be fatal.
So MultiPlan is driving with a dagger,
Kind of.
trying to grow a lot,
Mm-hmm.
while telling everyone that they're the answer to lowering healthcare costs.
Yeah.
It's a complicated picture.
It's very complicated. That's why we're here to untangle it all.
Okay.
And help you, the listener, understand it all.
So what's next in our MultiPlan deep dive?
Well, next, we'll explore MultiPlan's impact on healthcare costs.
Okay.
Do their cost-cutting efforts actually benefit consumers like us?
Right.
Or do they just shift costs around in the system?
That's a big question.
That's what we'll be tackling next.
So we've talked about how MultiPlan has all this debt and they're trying to grow like crazy.
Right.
But let's go back to like the main point.
Yeah.
How do they affect healthcare costs?
Right.
Do they actually make healthcare more affordable?
That's the question everyone wants answered, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough to say for sure.
Hmm.
MultiPlan says by getting lower prices from healthcare providers,
Mm-hmm.
they help insurance companies save money,
Right.
and those savings should then go to consumers.
Okay. Lower premiums.
Right.
Makes sense. But is that actually happening?
That's where things get tricky.
Oh, no.
Some experts think that MultiPlan might actually be making healthcare costs higher over time.
Wait, what? How does that even work?
It's all about incentives.
Okay.
Imagine you're a doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And MultiPlan's always pushing you to take less money for your services.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I mean, I'd probably try to make that money back somehow.
Exactly.
Maybe raise prices for other things.
Right. It's like a game of whack-a-mole. You lower the cost for one thing, and another cost just pops up somewhere else.
Yeah.
So healthcare providers might be raising prices overall.
Just to stay in business.
Exactly.
So MultiPlan lowers costs, then providers raise prices.
yeah,
Then insurance premiums go up.
right.
And in the end, we just pay more anyway.
It's a possible scenario.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a complex system, of course.
Yeah,
It's really hard to know exactly what any one company is doing,
right.
but it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. And MultiPlan wants to expand, right,
Oh, yeah.
in other areas.
They're not just sticking with health insurance.
Right.
They want to go into government health care programs,
Okay.
property and casualty insurance, dental, even auto insurance.
Wow. So anywhere there's a claim, they want to be there.
Exactly. They want to analyze it and try to lower the payout.
Are they trying to do too much?
Maybe. They're betting that what they know about claims can work in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
But every industry is different
Right.
with its own rules and regulations. So are they biting off more than they can chew?
It's a bold move.
Definitely. And let's not forget about all their debt.
Right.
It takes money to expand.
It does.
Where are they going to get it?
Good question.
More debt.
Possibly.
Or maybe they'll issue more shares,
Could be.
which would dilute the value for their current shareholders.
That's right. These are important things for investors to think about.
So we've got a company with a complicated business,
Yeah.
private equity involvement,
Uh,
a weird SPAC merger,
mm-hmm.
big plans for the future, and a ton of debt.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, this is what this deep dive is all about.
Okay.
We break it down
Right.
and help you understand what's going on.
Okay, so what are the main takeaways so far?
Well, we know that MultiPlan is in a strange part of the healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
They analyze claims and try to get lower prices from providers.
Right.
And they've been involved with private equity, which makes you think about their long-term goals.
Yeah, and we can't forget about that SPAC merger, which gave them some cash, but also might not have been the best for the shareholders.
Right. And there's a question of whether their cost-cutting actually helps consumers
Yeah.
or just moves costs around.
And they have all that debt
Yeah.
while they try to expand.
Makes you wonder about their finances.
It does. It's a lot of potential, but a lot of risk, too.
It's a company walking a tightrope.
What stands out to you the most?
I think the main thing is that there are no easy answers for healthcare costs.
Right.
MultiPlan might be able to save some money,
Mm.
but they're probably not the magic solution.
And they're just one part of a bigger system.
Right?
That's really complicated.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces.
And the rules keep changing.
Exactly.
So what happens next? What does this mean for MultiPlan Plan?
That's what we'll talk about in the last part of the deep dive.
Okay.
We'll look at MultiPlan's future and think about what a real solution to healthcare costs might look like.
So we've talked about a lot with MultiPlan.
Yeah, we have.
Their business model, their history, that crazy SPAC merger,
Right.
and all their plans for the future.
Definitely ambitious.
But what does it all mean? Is MultiPlan actually going to help with healthcare costs?
Well, they're definitely trying to make it seem like they're the answer.
Right.
They've got all that data and the technology, and they're really good at negotiating.
But we also saw that some people aren't so sure about their methods.
Yeah,
Like their cost cutting could end up raising prices in other areas.
exactly.
And then there's the debt and the fact that they're trying to do so much so fast.
It's risky for sure.
So can they actually pull it off? Can MultiPlan really be a leader in lowering healthcare costs?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah,
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
true.
But one thing's for sure, healthcare is always changing.
That's true.
New technology, new rules. People want different things.
Right.
MultiPlan's going to have to keep up.
Yeah, they can't just stand still.
No, they have to adapt and keep getting better.
It makes you think, though. Is focusing on cutting costs even the right way to go?
Right. What if the whole system needs to change?
Yeah, what if instead of trying to fix a broken system, we just made a whole new one?
Exactly. A system that actually works.
One that's more about preventing problems
Yes.
and being transparent
Absolutely.
and letting patients be more in control.
That would be amazing.
It sounds great, but how do we even get there?
I know it seems impossible,
Yeah.
but I think it starts with asking questions,
Okay.
challenging how things are done, and demanding more from the people in charge.
That's where our listeners come in.
You got it.
We've talked about MultiPlan and how complicated healthcare is. Now it's up to you to use that knowledge.
Right.
Talk about it. Push for change. Demand better.
We need a system that works for everyone.
One that's affordable and high quality and transparent.
Exactly.
That's a powerful message.
It all comes down to us. We have the power to change things.
That's a great note to end on. Thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive
Yeah, this was a good one.
into MultiPlan and the world of healthcare costs.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
The more we know, the better we can fight for a better future.
Where healthcare is accessible and affordable for all.
That's the goal.